Howdy, 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 and welcome to another episode of the DirtInfo podcast.
If you could, like always, just like, share, subscribe, uh, follow, comment, all the other fun stuff. And with that, we'll hop into styling and profiling, and I can go ahead and go first. I got a Devin Moran shirt on, and I actually remember where I got this one. I got it at Dubuque when XR was there on like a Monday night. And there's kind of a funny story to that. Like going to that race is I was in school or college at the time, but it was like, so I didn't work Mondays, and it was summer, um, and I was at Luxembourg the night before because they ran Sundays, and I kept seeing the ads on Facebook, like XR at Dubuque, and then I get home and I go to my dad, and I'm like, "Hey, Dad, you want to go to Dubuque tomorrow at a Monday? It's only like 4 hours away," and he was like, "Sure," and so we went. They had like
Right
40
on.
late models. I feel like Pierce probably won, but it was a good show, I know. I
Yeah.
enjoyed my time there. But yeah, I got this shirt while I was there.
Right on, right on. Like a minor side story. So similar story to that. Actually, Memorial Day is like the anniversary of Dirt Info. That was the day I kind of like made the Twitter and it became official. Was that Memorial Day weekend when I went to Winneshiek, and that's still kind of a similar story because I asked Sherry. I was like, we went to Princeton the night before, and I was like, "You want to do something stupid?" And she's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Drive 5 hours to Iowa to go watch a race." She's like, "Sure." And, so, and I looked at her like, you were supposed to say no. She's like, well, that sounds fun. So anyway, that's kind of the origin story of Dirt Info, and it happened to be Memorial Day weekend when it all went down. So interesting story. Anyway, so I went to another USMTS show on Memorial Day weekend, this time at Deer Creek, and I'm obviously a big fan of the 8, and I didn't have a shirt, so I picked up a Kyle Strickler shirt in the pits. I told you I was gonna make an ass of myself at least once, and I did. I kind of like I walked too far in their pit area. I know better. I should have just asked questions about the shirt and not like went and grabbed it. I did. I got a weird look. I apologize. I left with the shirt, so I feel like it was all fine at the end of the day. but but yeah.
How far
So
did
I
you
picked
walk?
this.
How far did you walk in? Did you walk up in the trailer? I'm just gonna grab this from down here.
Uh, Close. It was hanging from the trailer, so I walked to where the shirt was hanging to see the back of it.
Oh,
And so, yeah.
you got to see the
So,
back though.
yeah. Well, if I'd have just looked over a little bit, they
Oh
had it
yeah, they
hanging
got
the
on
other
there.
direction. They were smarter than me. But anyway, um, it's not the new car. He unveiled a new wrap this weekend,
I
and
like the
it
new
is
wrap.
primarily white. It's pretty. It's really pretty in person.
Yeah, I like
Um,
that much more than
yeah.
the orange or whatever, orange and black or something he had going
Oh
on.
yeah, yeah. That never felt like a Kyle Strickler car.
No, not at
No,
all.
yeah, no. But yeah. So this is the UMP car on the back of this one, the black and
Oh
teal
yeah.
and yeah. But still, and then Sherry kind of pointed out too. It's got the nickname, the High Side Tickler, on there, so that's always fun too. But anyway, so yeah, that's what I picked up. So we'll probably talk more about that, but I think the order we had decided was we were gonna let you tell us about Benji's big win at Luxie, and then we were gonna get into what I did this weekend. But anyway, tell us about your racing adventures this weekend, Carter.
Friday, I went to Luxembourg for the second time this month, which is shocking.
Ooh.
It didn't rain, and yeah, it was a good night. The stock car feature was one of the best races I think I've seen all year long. RM Van Pay and Luke Lemons were side by side, literally like all 20 laps, and then with like five-ish to go, Benji he started ninth. He got up to third and he tracked them down and they were like three wide going into turn three on the last lap for the win. And then RM Van
Oh,
Pay was able to win. But it was Van Pay on the top, Lemons in the middle, and Benji was on the bottom. And it was
catfishing.
yeah, it was a wild finish. But then yeah, Benji won the mods. I think he started ninth, or stock cars he started a little further back. Mods, I think he started ninth, and then he was to the front pretty quick. And he was and that he was
uh,
throwing sliders, getting by guys, and yeah, he was pretty checked out in that one.
right, right on.
Um,
Random question, and you may not know the answer, and I am sorry for putting you on the spot. But how did Travis Hansen do? You know, I'm a
he
big fan of Travis.
was I don't remember where he finished. The one thing I remember is him and another guy. Another guy was a little mad at him due to a slide job. I guess it
Okay.
wasn't clear enough for the other guy, and under caution they were not too happy with each other. That I
Okay.
don't remember where he finished though.
No
Um,
worries. No worries.
then Saturday I went to Shawano. 'Cause I had to do the Dirt King stream there. And I haven't been there since like 2021. Even though it's only an hour for me, I'm just not a huge half mile guy. I've said it many times. That's mainly the
Yeah,
reason.
you're pretty much on record about that.
And but yeah, I was there for the first time. Mitch McGrath ended up winning the Dirt Kings race, and that was I wish I could remember, but the announcer was like, I assumed he won more Dirt King races because he wins a good amount, but he hasn't won a Dirt Kings race in a few years, which is surprising to me. But he won, and then they call them the Mighty Fours, but the Sport Compacts had the best race of the night by far. The Brad Weedy, I believe is how you pronounce it, won. Might be Weddy. But him and I can't remember the other guy were like throwing like slide jobs as much as you could in a sport compact on each other.
Yeah.
But he'd slide up in front, and then the guy who he passed would go underneath. They'd go all the way down the mile-long straightaway, it feels like, and then do the same thing. They'd swap positions, and then it's like two to go that Brad Weddy finally kind of was clear of him. But it was like good half the race probably. It's only 12 laps because the track's so big. So I guess 6 laps they were doing that for, it seemed like.
Right.
So and Benji did win Saturday at 141 in the mod, by the way.
Okay.
That was
Okay.
that was unfortunately Flo went down there for the features, not ideal. But I
Hmm.
found the video of it from someone in the stands. So I watched that yesterday, and he was like third with like two to go, and then he passed them both in like one corner, I believe. Uh, like coming to like I think it was on in 1 and 2 with like two to go, and he started like 13th, I think. So
Right on.
wish I could have seen that, but I had a job to
Yeah.
do in Shawano. So
Yeah,
um,
you were working. Fair enough. Real
yeah.
quick, I want to mention Travis came home fifth
Oh,
at
fifth.
Luxy.
Okay.
So, yep, yep.
And then Sunday, I went to Benton County Speedway, or Vinton as I call it. And finally, for the first time, I've seen the entire show there. No rain.
Okay.
Twice we got
Oh,
rained out. The last year we went there, random storm, 0% chance of rain, random storm showed up right before the sport mod feature.
alright.
But
Well,
this time,
I was starting to think it was you. So we've
they finally got it in. Although
yeah,
the weather still was a bit of a lie. It said light
yeah,
wind. It was not light wind. Because the track was dealing with the pretty heavy wind they had going on. They had to do
yeah,
multiple track reworks, and they start early, like 5 o'clock. Well, they're supposed to start at 5. They started a bit later. But
yeah.
so it's daylight out. You know, it's not like it gets dark and the track keeps moisture better. So they had to rework it a few times, but it was worth it because the racing was phenomenal. There was 3 rollovers and the track was totally smooth, which is kind of strange. But
Hmm.
two of them they don't have a wall around pretty much the only part of the wall is the front stretch and a little bit into turn one. The rest there's no
Okay.
wall. And in turn three, Cole Fensky went off the edge and rolled, and then I can't remember the other guy that did it in turn three. He rolled one off the track, slid down and rolled, and then Troy Morris in the mod feature. I didn't see the whole thing, but from what the announcer said, it sounded like someone broke in front of him going down the backstretch, and then he got into him and rolled. But
Oh,
then Troy Morris, the whole top was smashed in, drove it right off the track into the pit area, so it must have not been too bad. And
it
Cole
wasn't
Fensky
too
was
bad.
actually he was back out for the B main. Only one guy, only the second guy that rolled never came back out. So,
Okay.
um, but yeah, the mod feature, uh, Chaz Baca won, but it wasn't easy. Tom Barry started out leading maybe 8 to 10 laps. All of a sudden, smoke was coming out. He pulled off. Jerry Flippo inherits the leads maybe 5, 10 laps. I don't know the exact number. Smoke from his car. He has to pull off. So it was an
Hmm.
interesting start. And then Logan Anderson, this is his first year in a mod. He was like really good in the sport mod. He takes the lead. He leads a good portion. And then unfortunately the live timing, it was up, but it's not there anymore. So I couldn't look. So there was someone in between there that had the lead. Oh, Zachary Madrid, who I always thought he was a stock car guy, but I guess he's in a mod now.
Yeah.
He was
Hmm.
hit. Anderson was running the bottom. Baca was right behind him. Madrid was just hammering the top and caught up to both of them and drove by him, led a few laps, and then with then he went over the banking, lost a ton of spots. And
Oh,
then Anderson took the lead back, and then I think Baca got by with less than 10 to go. And then Anderson went to the top and was catching him, but he kept making like small mistakes and would cost him a bit because the top was still there. I mean, guys were still running it. But it was
yeah.
there was a lot of lead changes. Some of them because of
Right
guys
on.
breaking, but yeah, there was a lot of drama in it. It was a very entertaining race. And then the sport mods had they were 2,000 to win, and Cam Reimers won that one. So
Right on. Right on. Yeah, that sounds that sounds like a banger race,
yeah, it
honestly.
was. And the
So,
mod field there was 36 mods, but it was like loaded like with like top IMCA guys, like probably 20, 25 of them. Like if they won that race, I would have not been surprised whatsoever.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it was a loaded field. Ton of West Coast
Right.
guys were there too. I mean, in Iowa now or nearby, but like just ton of West Coast guys.
Originating from,
Yeah,
yep, yep, yep.
I know they
Yeah,
did
I
the.
mean,
Go ahead.
I thought it was interesting you said Tom Berry was leading. He was at Deer Creek with me the day before, so like he made the trip, but
I
yeah.
thought it was funny. They did the four wide, and the first four cars were all West Coast guys. It was Baca, uh, Barry, Flippo, and oh, I can't remember the other guy. I apologize to the last guy. There was one more. I think
Malakote maybe?
no, I think it was Lane. I think it was Laney. I think Laney was the
Okay.
other one.
Okay. Yep.
But yeah, I thought
All
it was
right.
funny that there's a ton of West
Yeah.
Coast guys there. So and then
Yeah,
the other.
you
Go ahead.
so four wide, they did a four wide?
They did, and they had flags.
Oh,
The
that's
first
what
four
I'm
cars had
talking
flags.
about.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Now that's the kind of show I'm there for. That feels so anti-IMCA. but
IMCA does four wides for big shows. I
okay,
mean, they're
all
not going to
right.
break out a four wide for 1,000 to win feature. Well, most tracks don't. I have seen it done.
Most tracks though. Yeah.
Um,
No.
but
No,
then
I just had to give you a little crap. I know that you save all that. Just give me good racing.
shout out to the four cylinders. Christian Grady won, but he made a last lap pass to win that one. So that was a good race too. A lot of people left, but me and Ryan we stayed and we were entertained. So
Dedicated. Dedicated. Yeah. Right on. So that was a fun night of racing. The drive was uneventful. No breakdowns.
no
No.
breakdowns at all. Oh,
Oh,
I
good.
want to mention too. They had apple crisp to eat there, which is not something I've ever seen
Ooh.
at a race. It was pretty good too, nice and warm. And the cashier, I didn't do this, but
Ice cream or no?
she was telling me some people go to the ice cream stand and buy. There's like little
Oh,
cups, those little like small cups of like ice cream, and they'll buy that and put it on top. But I'm not a huge ice cream guy, so I didn't do that.
okay. I'm not actually either, believe it or not, but warm apple crisp with a little bit of vanilla ice cream. That
Yeah, it probably I
yeah.
would have still liked it, but yeah, I was fine without it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, no. But that's an interesting track food for sure. That's not
yeah,
one you hear about
they
everywhere.
got a
So
few things there, but yeah, and they have popcorn chicken, which isn't as strange, but it's very good. I'm
yeah.
big. I got that two times I've been there. I got it both times. So
Right on. Right on. Well, I also went racing. Well, you went 3 nights. I went two, which is it's big for me. But so as I alluded to before, obviously, and where I got the shirt, I went to Deer Creek for USMTS. It was the Southern Minnesota Spring Challenge. So 5,000 to win. It was a super fun time there, actually. You know me, I was there early, obviously. I was there. I was there before the pits opened inadvertently, honestly. But it was fortunate that I was there. I didn't have to wait in line. There was quite the line. But for when the pit shack opened, I was like, "Oh, let's go now." Anyway. But that was fun. Walked the pits, got tons of good pictures. I actually talked to Billy Steinberg, who runs the Minnesota Dirt YouTube. Are you familiar with these guys at all? Have you seen him?
I am
No?
not.
Okay. Well, I've talked before about, YouTube racers or that sounds so derogatory, but guys who race and post on YouTube. And they're one of them, Minnesota Dirt. And I've been following along for a while. They're like first generation racers. But anyway, I thought it was just cool to talk to him. I've run into him a couple different times at tracks. I've actually run into him at at the Dome when I went, and I've seen him at MTS a few times, Deer Creek. Just anyway, over the years, bumped into him, talked to him, and it's just kind of, I don't know. It felt interesting to me. I left kind of going like, man, I sure do see Billy a lot and talk to him, and it's interesting because I don't just like walk up and feel starstruck and be like, "Oh, how'd you race?" It's like we actually just have a conversation, so it's kind of neat. Like I feel like I've made a racetrack friend because we can talk. Like obviously now we're content creators, Carter, right? So like we have that in common. Anyway, I'm not really bragging. I just was saying it was neat for me. So as weird as that sounds, I enjoyed hanging out in that pit for a while. And so the racing was pretty solid. To be for real, the under features were better than the USMTS feature. The hobby stocks put down an absolute banger.
Shocker.
They were yeah, shocker, right? They were the lead race too. They were sent out to run the track in and run it in. They did. But yeah, they were coming to the checkered 3 wide, and the guy in third won. So he ran. It was the leader ran the bottom, and then second place like ran the middle, and third ran the clear bottom. And from where I was sitting, I couldn't see how good they were bumping and banging, but the leader definitely pushed up the track, and third drove underneath both of them for the win. And so I'm actually give me 2 shakes here. So Gavin Bartel, and I think the margin of victory was 0.54. So it was tight. Yeah, it was tight. So that was a really good feature. And then the 2 B mods were pretty solid too. They ran, so interesting enough, they had somewhere like around 40-ish B mods. I don't remember the exact number, but rather than run like a complete show with 1 feature, they just ran heats and then 2 features.
Yeah, I think they do that like weekly too sometimes.
Yeah, I think so too. So I thought it felt a little different to me, but I didn't hate it. But so anyway, we had 2 B mod feature winners. Noah Grinstad won the first one by 0.1 second, so another tight race. And then Dustin Cruz won by 0.32. So they were just all very tight races in the under feature, and they're all really good races. The USMTS race was pretty solid until Rodney got by with like 30 to go or something, or 25 to go. But the first 10 to 15 laps were really good. Rodney was tracking down Mark Smith, and Mark Smith was fast. Like traffic definitely played a factor, but anyway, Rodney ended up catching up to him. He used a lap car as a pick, and Smith didn't let out. And so he could come down the backstretch going into 3 and 4 with a wing or a door panel flapping. And I'm pretty sure I'm pissed off mode was activated because Rodney slid the lapper and Mark Smith was running the top and he just didn't let up. Rodney slid the lapper up there and like he was so pissed he just wanted to get to Rodney, and then all of a sudden there was 2 cars in his way and he had to slam on the brakes and self-spun to avoid an absolute wreck. So after that restart, Rodney just drove away. But it was definitely a good night of racing. Fun to meet up with some folks and just kind of have fun at a racetrack. So then we drove home and we turned around and we went. Sherry and I went right back to Ogilvie the next night, and I was even late to this one, and I was still early. Pits opened an hour before I got there, but stands definitely filled out eventually, but no one was in a hurry to get there on a Sunday. But so that was definitely a different experience. Being at the home track, I definitely, there were some more knowing glances. I'll say that. Like I could definitely tell. I was recognized. Oh, I actually got a picture. I got a picture with Caution Man. Do you know Caution Man? Have you seen Caution Man on DRC at all?
I think I've seen. Yes, I did see it. See that on DRC. Yes.
Yeah. So I think he was there at like the Topless Nationals was kind of when he first got noticed like a year ago or 2 years ago. I think he was at the Dome too recently.
Okay. I do remember there being something like that at the Dome.
Yeah. So Sherry and I were walking back from one of our many trips to go do something. And he was there by the main walkway. And so we took a picture with him. I guess I'm going to make more work for you, Carter. You're going to have to edit the picture but I have a picture so we'll throw it up on screen.
quick question. What time did you
Yeah.
leave for Ogilvie?
I didn't even leave for Ogilvie till like 3:45.
Oh, okay. I was curious
Yeah.
if you managed to leave for Ogilvie earlier than I left for Iowa. That would have been
No,
we left at like
definitely not.
I think I left at like 9:50, 9:45 for Iowa
Okay.
AM.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't have surprised me if you said you left before that.
Oh man, I would have definitely had to kill some time, and I would have been super
It was a
early.
3-day show though. There probably would have been cars in the pit area. There would have been people walking
There
around.
was a few. There was a few. But yeah, I didn't need to be that early, brother. I like being early. I'm going to MTS next weekend. I might be semi early
I wouldn't blame
again.
you for getting early there though, because it's gonna be packed,
Yeah,
I'm sure. So
yeah, yeah. But anyway, so Ogilvie was a blast. Just ran into a lot of people that I've been kind of building relationships with. So that was super fun. Um, Got to see Ashley Boyum. Took a picture with the logo on the car. So, more work for you. but, but yeah, I took a picture next to the car. So that was cool. It was good to see Ashley. I don't know if she mentioned that I might be a good luck charm. I don't know if I was or wasn't, but she did make the feature. On Sunday, she hadn't made it the two prior nights, and so I think she came home somewhere in the teens. So maybe I was, maybe I wasn't, but
you're
she
not
did
her
put in
bad
the
luck
show.
charm at least. I mean, she
I'm
made
not her
it.
bad luck charm, dude. That was kind of neat. See, it sentimental, weird. I don't know, but I could find that. It didn't matter how many cars were around her. I could find that logo no matter what. Yeah, a bit of a surreal feeling, I'm not gonna lie. So that was pretty neat too. But the racing was super fantastic. Shane won the big show. So they had this deal where if any driver in the mods or in the mods of the Midwest mods, possibly the Super Stocks too, but if anyone swept the weekend, there was a $5,000 bounty up. And so Wagaman won the first two nights of the Minnesota Mod Nationals. He won Friday, Saturday. So he was the only one of the ones that eligible going for it. And man, could you tell he wanted it. So in his heat, he definitely the car wasn't as the car was a little more crumpled leaving the heat than it was starting it. But he drove up to second to give himself a pretty good redraw spot because it was passing points. It was a Westota show. So
Oh yeah, they do goofy stuff
yep.
over there.
Oh, like point averages and starting 12 in the features.
It makes for good race. It
Yeah.
works. Doesn't matter.
It's not super dissimilar than what. Anyway, I digress. It's not wildly different at all.
To be fair, actually, the Westota, the heat races would be better with passing points because in IMCA, say you just need to get into the invert spot. So if you took
Yeah.
if you took first or like fourth in the heat, you would start in the exact same spot in the feature. So
Yeah. Yeah, heats are kind of boring then. If
they're
I'm
still
comfortable in
good.
my spot,
Guys
but
still race try to win it. I mean, every guy usually tries to win it most of the time, but
yeah, fair enough. But but yeah, so Wagaman had to work to get to the lead. He started somewhere 8th, 10th area. Anyway, so but the fireworks were, I think it was with 2 or 3 to go, there was a late caution which grouped the field up, and Wagaman was starting second row high side. Shane was obviously leading, starting on the pin, and then Jeremy Nelson was first row inside on the restart. Coming back to the flag stand after the restart, Wagaman is absolutely just banging the boards around the top. Shane's running the middle, and Jeremy Nelson's running the bottom. Coming to the flag stand with 2 to go, Wagaman takes the lead. Jeremy Nelson's running second, and Shane slipped to third on the restart. Coming out of 2 and 3, Shane was leading again, and while tight was never seriously challenged, but I lost it when Wagaman made that pass because he literally was just railing the cushion. He was on the wall. He didn't let up. And I was like, yes, because I'm rooting for the storyline, right? The dude just, with 3 to go, takes the lead and is going to go sweep the weekend and win this big bonus. It wasn't to be, man, but I I was screaming and hollering. If you were near me, you heard me. But um, so it was super fun. So Shane won the mods, obviously, as I just mentioned, and then Joey Jensen swept the B mods and the street stocks, which um kind of a bummer this wasn't a 10,000 to win show. I mean, I really wanted it to be. I think they ended up getting 35 total cars, which maybe was the same as a different 10,000 to win show, um but yeah, it was good racing. It would have been cool. I guess it wasn't to be, but it would have been an added storyline. I also do want to shout out. So Tony Jensen won the Hornet feature. I talked about this car last time I was at Ogilvie. It's the one with the signal sticks. But
Oh,
I
yeah.
will give dude credit. When he wins, he is the most jacked of any driver I've ever seen. I think there's a clip on DRC of him, but he is absolutely every time I see him win, he comes out just pumped, and I can appreciate that. So
I like this new development of you staying for Hornet features ever since it
yeah,
seems like ever since we started this, he started staying.
yeah, yeah. Um, I have it's I got nowhere to be, and to be for real, it's content. I don't want to be dismissive. It's good racing, but it's also fun to talk. Cool stuff happens. As you mentioned, the Sport Complex was your favorite at Schwano. So
Shawno. You said it,
Shano,
you said it like
Schwano.
you said it how the GPS says it. GPS says
Yeah,
Shawano, but it's
yeah.
Shawno. There's like
Oh,
no
I
A. The
said it phonetically.
A is silent. Yeah, it's
Okay,
kind of
okay,
goofy. I could
but
see.
yeah.
I hear people from Wisconsin say it wrong. So
Maybe we say it right and you guys just
no.
get tired of it anyway. But I do also want to mention Rowan Tram won the Mod Force. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that. I saw his first career win at Granite earlier this year, and the guy's just been on rails, so that's pretty neat. Anyway, so that was my racing weekend. It was heck of fun. Obviously, I think between the two of us, we didn't get a chance to watch much other racing than the one we were
No.
at. But worthwhile to run through some results and storylines that we had been talking about, over the months of the podcast. So, starting with Lucas, they had the Show Me 100, which was 10,000, 10,000, and then 75,000 to win on Saturday. I thought Huddy was going to sweep the whole weekend. He won comfortably night one. I think fairly comfortably night two, but admittedly, I didn't see much of it.
Yeah.
Um, and then Bobby, we had mentioned Bobby was going to be there. Was he the only outlaw or one of
Um.
few? There were not many.
Yeah, I'm sure there's got to have been one more, right? I don't know
Oh,
who. There's
I
got to.
genuinely don't know if there was. I mean, Cade Dillard was there, but he's not
He's not an
actually
outlaw
running with
anymore.
them
Yeah.
anymore. Yeah. So like, maybe we put a foot in our mouth, but that's all right. We went racing a whole mess. But yeah, he ended up winning the big feature, so he showed up and took the big check.
It's
So
kind of
yeah,
funny. As soon as it's like 10,000s, whatever, and then all of a sudden it gets up
eh,
to with 75K, right? And then I'll take that. I'll take. You guys
yeah,
can have the other stuff. He was the only
yeah,
outlaw, by the way. I guess you're right.
yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, I was pretty sure of that. So good to confirm. At least we're not leaving everyone hanging and wondering. But yeah, no. So I thought that was interesting. That he's the only one. Yeah, the first two were testing sessions. Remember, we'd said that a lot of the Lucas guys have been there. Huddy knew the setup when he rolled out of the box. So Pierce had,
Huddy won there twice earlier this year.
yeah,
I think it was back in April or something. He won
yeah,
that
the
deal, that unsanctioned thing they had,
unsanctioned thing, which was like I think 5-20 or five
something
and
like that.
25. So
Yeah.
yeah, he's made a whole. He's looking forward to the Diamond Nationals. I'll tell you that. So, um, but yeah, that's kind of the big storylines from the weekend. I don't know. The little bit of racing I saw looked like Lucas Oil Speedway, so I guess I shouldn't say anything else. I should mention too, though, Carter. Do you remember what we guessed for car count?
I don't remember the exact number, but I know it was higher than what it was. Or
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, I think we optimistically said 70 and 75, which was premised on the fact that they had 63 last year. We didn't just pull this out of nowhere. But yeah, no.
We're
They
gonna
got
blame the weather.
49. We're gonna blame the weather. At least we know of at least one person who would have been there otherwise.
Yeah,
So,
Chris Simpson said he was gonna go, but the weather look part of it was because of the weather. There was some other
yeah.
factors, but
There's some
part of
other
it was
factors.
because of the weather, so we're gonna
Enough
blame
for
that.
us to say that the weather
Oh,
caused us to be wrong.
and
That's
Chris Ferguson was gonna go too, but he couldn't get the car ready in time. So
yeah. When he wasn't in a rush because the weather didn't look good. So
exactly,
it's
yeah.
really the weather's fault. Anyway, so moving on from that. Um, Staying with late models though, Mars ran this past weekend, 3 days. Um, Friday was I almost said Thursday. I'm not. It was a Memorial Day weekend. We have different type of schedules for some of this stuff. But Friday was Tri City. Did you see who won that?
Winger won that.
Yeah,
Ashton Winger.
Ashton Winger. Yep, the underrated Illinois bull ring superstar and Hell Tour champion Ashton Winger. You know, like he's from down south. You don't think he's got that. I guess it doesn't feel like he should be good there, but then you remember he won the Hell Tour, and you're like, oh
Yeah,
yeah,
he's one of those guys that I think if he could just move to Illinois, I think he would totally he'd be okay with it.
yeah, for sure. And so then on Saturday we were at Fairbury. I guess we should have took took guesses at their car count because they got they got 50. They got 50. And so Jason Fager won the late models there. They had three noteworthy uh parts of this show. So late models was Fager for 5,000. Derek Loesch won the mods, so they had the Mars mods running as well for 2,000. And then they had a street stock show for 4,300, and Nick Seplak won that.
I
So
know the late model feature was really like Shirley and Fager were battling it out like right to the end, and then the mod feature, Ledford threw like a last lap slider, um,
okay.
but Loesch, I believe it's pronounced, drove underneath them. So yeah, and I didn't see the street stock feature, but I saw someone describe it as chaotic, but like not in a bad way, I don't think. So
Okay.
so I think all
Yeah,
three were pretty good races.
right on. Right on. And then so Sunday they went to Spoon River. And Dennis Erb won the late models, and then Tyler Nicely got it done in the mods. So they had both series there as well. Um, Anything noteworthy about the late model feature?
Yeah, well, Dennis Erb, as you said, won, and Shannon Babb was the other one that was right with them. I think they were pretty much side by side for a good last half of the race. But the funny part was Shannon Babb was on the bottom and Dennis Erb was on the top. Usually it's the other way around with those two.
Yeah. If you'd have told me Dennis Erb won a race going around the top, I thought you'd lie. You were lying. So that is, I didn't know that he could get a car set up to run up.
Now he
No.
wasn't like right on the edge like a
Yeah,
Pierce line, but he was above Shannon Babb.
yeah,
So
yeah. Which is the top for him. No, I'm kidding. But yeah. So, well, right on. Um, Mars goes again this weekend. They've got a bit of an interesting event here. I believe it's called the Twisted 25s, and it's at LaSalle Speedway.
hmm
Yeah. So we've got two, I think Friday they're going to run two features. They're 5,000 to win each, but there's a bit of a, well, hence the name Twisted 25s. There's a bit of a twist. Um, so we're qualifying, we're running heats, we're running B mains, and then we're running a feature. And then what's happening after feature one?
so they do feature one and then this so it's not split features where it's like half the fields in one, half the fields in the
Mhm.
other. They all the guys in the first feature are in the second feature, but then for the second feature they line them up by their finishing order in the first one, but the top 10 get inverted. So the winner of the first feature starts 10th, second place starts ninth, so on.
So on and so
Um,
forth. Yeah.
and then yeah, then they run that one for 25 laps. Winner of that also gets 5K. So I mean, technically, I guess, leave with 10K if you
Yeah.
win both. But then they take going into Saturday. Then they take the top four in points between those two features. So I guess like a cumulative points or
Point
whatever from
structure.
each one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
The top four each start on the pole of a heat on Saturday, so they'll have four heats, and then every other car has to qualify heat B main on Saturday. So that does leave an opportunity for someone to come just Saturday if they wanted to. Um,
Yeah. Sounds like
if
it.
they won't start on the pole, but they'll start
Yeah,
second. I
I mean
mean,
they could start second if they qualify. I mean, I can't imagine that there's any reason why um they won't let folks come if everyone but the top four are qualifying
yeah,
in. It seems totally like that could happen. Sounds like a situation where a turbo might show up.
that's how it's looking.
That's how it's looking. Well, he's supposed to be at Mississippi Thunder, but I think you had mentioned his schedule looks
Schedule says
differently. So
otherwise. Yeah.
okay, yeah, yeah. So I guess we shall see. The intrigue continues with the with the fun tour. Um, but
Speaking
yeah,
of Turbo, we mentioned we knew he wasn't going to go to Lucas Oil. We mentioned he might go to the Mars shows. He went to Michigan instead. They had
yeah,
some like I know one of them was 7,500. They had a few like three big shows up there. One rained out, and
okay,
then he won one of them. I think Sunday night he won. But
okay.
yeah, we did not predict him going to Michigan. I don't think so.
No, that wasn't in the cards.
Not even on the
No.
radar.
So, and I should mention that Saturday shows 25,000 to win.
Yep.
So it is a big. It'll draw some folks. So that could be a very with not a whole lot else.
All the yeah,
Uh,
Lucas and the Outlaws are off. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
in the
yeah. I
Midwest,
think Hunt the
that's the big
yeah,
thing. So
yeah. I was gonna say I think Hunt the front, but I mean that's a whole different pool of cars for the most
yeah,
part. So I don't know. Could be deep fields. Could be.
I think so. I think we'll
Yeah.
have a pretty good field for that.
I might try to catch those that the 225 feature sounds interesting. I'll give
Yeah.
him that. It sounds interesting. Like, can the guy who just won get all the way to first again from 10th?
Doesn't Gondik Law do something like that? They have a twin 25. It's a challenge series race. They do something. I think it's
Yeah,
a
but I
similar
think they
thing.
full invert it.
Oh, so like the winner starts 20th or 24th, whatever.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
that's even.
think. Don't quote me on it, but I think that's kind of what I thought they'd do here too. But it turns out that
It'd
they're
be kind of
not.
cool if
But
they did that, but I don't think drivers would like it.
but but yeah. So well, it'll be definitely worth something checking in on. Um, we had also kind of talked about an interesting IMCA show at Stewart. I liked the name, the Whole Hog 50. I dig that name. Um, but so looks like they got 176 cars. So that's a pretty solid turnout. I think this was on Sunday, yeah, or was this on
Yeah,
Monday?
they had.
No, it was on
It was on
Sunday.
Sunday. Monday was
It
the
was
rain
on
day, but yeah,
Sunday.
they had like
Yep,
176 and I think eight classes, I believe it was. They had a good amount of
yeah,
classes, I know.
yeah. Solid car counts through most of them. But I think the two noteworthy, or well, three noteworthy uh, results was stock cars was 3,500 to win, and Caden Carter won that. Mods was 1,000 to win, and Caden Carter won that. And then I don't recall what sports mods was to pay, but Brayton Carter won that. So it was a good day for the Carter racing family.
Honestly, Caden Carter could have went to Vinton, and if he won the mod feature there, he would have won $100 more than what he won in two races. So he should have came to Vinton.
Fair enough. Yeah. He would have just added to how stacked and deep that field was. You
Exactly.
know? Yeah. Former USMTS racer, slumming it up. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That's you and I sort of old poking. I shouldn't air that. But anyway, I kid. Anyway, speaking of USRA sanctioned races, the Ironman went 2 nights this weekend as well. They were at Hancock County or Britt, with USMTS for $1,200, and Braden Geary won that. And then they went to Winneshiek on Saturday for $1,200 as well, and Jason Schlangen, I believe that's how you say it, Schlangen,
Do you know
won that.
how many cars they had for that or not?
I don't. the one day I'm a little underprepared, and you come at me with questions like this.
Well, you looked it up. I'll just add. I forgot to add it
Yeah,
earlier. Part of the Vinton thing, they ran Friday, Saturday at Marshalltown and Boone for 2,000 to win for the mods both night, and Cody Laney swept those. So
love those.
yep,
Okay, so
I'll
he's
add
kind of the
that.
favorite going
Yeah,
into Vinton as well.
he had
Yeah.
top five, I believe, at Vinton. He started kind of deep.
Okay. 35 at Winneshiek.
Oh, pretty
I
good then.
imagine probably about the same at Hancock. I'm not gonna try to chase them both down, but yeah. So
I know
35.
Hancock was pretty good. I looked at them, but I know they had a good car count there too.
Okay. Yeah. Still solid. And it kind of like I had mentioned, I mean, worth noting here too, I think I missed it up top, but USMTS had 50, 50, and then 35 at Mason City on Sunday. So they had a solid car count as well. I think they were helped. Some of the other USRA tracks in the area took the weekend off. So all their
Do we
guys had a
know,
place to go race.
did we ever mention the winners from the two we weren't at, or the two you weren't at, I should say?
I might have jumped past that, but my guy Kyle Strickler won on Friday, and then Kay Dillard showed up and won on Sunday at Mason City. It occurs to me that I probably just need a Rodney Sanders door panel on there, and I guess I'd be good to go. But anyway, so yeah, I think that's the majority of the results. Nope, I lied. There's one more set of results we wanted to talk about, and we'll just quickly touch on them. But so SLMR was back in action again last weekend as well, and they were at I'm gonna Makokata.
Yeah. They were
Makokata.
supposed to
So
be at Davenport Friday, but it rained out.
yeah, got rained out. But Makokata, Dylan Thornton won, and then they went to Dubuque, which was a backup for you.
It was
On
almost, I'll tell you after, but you could say the winner from there quick.
went to Dubuque on Sunday, and Jason Haney won that. So you almost ended
So,
up
so,
there.
so if Vinton, because we drive literally through Dubuque to go
Hmm.
to and from Vinton, and if Vinton got done a little late because they had to do the track prep and whatnot, but if they got done at say 8:30, we would have rolled into Dubuque around 10, and they would have still had like, I think they got done like 11 o'clock, so they would have had like an
Okay.
hour worth of features. I we were thinking about stopping in. If like when we went through there, if they still had features, like a bunch of good amount of features left to run, we were just gonna stop in and watch those too. We had
Uh,
Monday off, so I mean, unfortunately,
mhm.
fortunately it didn't work out, but that's okay. It wasn't like
Yeah,
we were upset that it didn't work out, but it
that would have
would have
been
been kind of
cool.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been super cool for sure. Um, and then just wrapping up SLMR real quick. So they do go again this weekend, Friday at CJ Speedway, and then Saturday at Lee County Speedway. So, and all of those are 3,000 to win. So a couple guys won 3,000, and they're going to be giving out 3,000 again moving forward. So, um, I think that's more or less the wrap up. There's not a ton going on this weekend that we are dying to talk about, but there's one thing I think we're looking to talk a little bit about, and that is the Modified World Championship. So I'm going to that. I'm going to be there Saturday, so I'm pretty pumped for this. It's I guess the re-envisioned version of the big deal from last year at MTS. The ownership groups doing it themselves, I believe, probably with sponsors and everything. I don't know. I shouldn't pretend like I know. Anyway, MTS is putting it on, and I think that they're promoting it themselves. So big undertaking, 100,025 bucks to win. It's going to be on Flow and Racing Dirt. So I'm also kind of pumped about the Flow bit. Just broader audience for other people to see all the stuff we
I'll
brag, or I'm always bragging about.
I'll watch it now, so works for me.
Yeah, exactly right. So, um, Mississippi Thunder is one of my favorite tracks. I mean, I bragged about it last time, so I'm not going to go crazy here, but it's an awesome environment. The views are beautiful. The pit area is awesome. It's going to be jam packed, and I'm going to be in the middle of it on Saturday, so I'm so excited. And I don't know. Should I tailgate again, Carter?
I mean, you might actually have to there. You might have to get there pretty early, so.
Yeah, might be. But I think at last check they had something like 120 mods registered. I think there may or may not be some surprise or mystery ones. But don't quote me on that. I think they're definitely trying to get as many folks there as they can. And then not to be, I mean, worth mentioning or not to be outshined, but the stock cars, stock cars are running for $10,025. So, and that was an invite field too. So
Yep.
that's going to be some solid stock car racing. That's invite only field. So also, not necessarily breaking news, but like a little bit breaking news. That's not the stock cars, although I tried. I did try. But the Modified World Championship is going to be on Dirt Draft, and there's also going to be I think, some pretty cool prizes up. So maybe some tickets and other stuff. So if you are a Dirt Draft subscriber player, definitely keep a lookout for this. I'm super pumped that that's going to be on there. So, but anyway, because of that, I think we should do a little bit of a draft. So I couldn't get stock cars on Dirt Draft, but maybe we can do them here too. But we'll start with the mods. I'm thinking let's do 5 drivers each. A little bit of a snake draft. I'll let you start. I always let you start. But we'll do 5 drivers, and then because the format is such that they're qualifying on Wednesday, but then that's going to seed them for heats, and then there's AB mains both nights, and there are lock-ins out of it. That I think what we'll do is we'll just take whatever our driver's best night of the 2 qualifying nights is, and we'll score them for that. Let's just do Dirt Draft scoring too, 100 for first and -2 all the way down.
Okay.
So we'll take their best qualifying night, and then we'll take whatever their championship night is, and we'll combine those two and combine our roster, and we'll see who wins between the two of us. But let's do stock cars, 3 stock cars each too. Yeah,
That works. Yep.
okay. Let's start with mods though. But anyway, all right. The inaugural first annual Modified World Championship draft with the first pick. Carter selects.
Kate Dillard.
Yeah. When I was like, you go first, I was like, poop. Yeah, that seems like a good pick. I'm gonna go. So with the second pick, I think I'm gonna go with Rodney Sanders. He's been really hot, so stick with the driver who's been winning a bunch and running up front. So. And I think because we're doing it snake draft style, that means I get to go with a second pick as well. And I'm gonna take the hometown kid. I'm gonna take Jake Tim. He got the mod out last weekend, knocked the rust off, got the car shakedown. He's at home. I think he has a real good chance of winning this thing. So those will be my 2 picks.
I'll go with the guy who I believe took second last year, Jim Chisholm.
Yep.
I don't see him on the list, but there he is. I went
He's
past him
there.
8.
He's
I knew
there.
he'd
He's
be there, but then
definitely
I was like, couldn't find him. And I was like, wait a minute.
It occurred to me we were not as technologically ready as we were before with the last draft. So I'm just gonna pen and paper so we can keep track of who we take. So if you see me writing over here.
That was my third pick. This guy, I feel like this guy ran pretty good there. He had a win. This past weekend. Tyler Nicely, I'll go with. Didn't he run pretty
Oh.
good there last year? He was
Yes,
in the
he
feature
did.
for sure.
He
Yeah.
was in the feature and he ran very, very good. I'm gonna take someone who I was writing down our things. Anyway, I'm gonna take someone who ran really good in the last big money race as well. I'm gonna go with Cole Falloway. I think you're onto something with these UMP guys. I think they're starting to figure something out. So I'm gonna go with Cole Falloway. He's been running really well this year as well. And then I'm going to I'm gonna go back with a hometown favorite and maybe, I don't know, 50 to the third, a little Brandon Davis action. That feels like a good pick. That feels like a good pick. So
Um,
you are up.
I'll go with Ricky Thornton Jr.
All right,
I
all right.
I kind of forgot he was going to be there, and then I'm tempted to go with last year's hard charger. I'm tempted.
Oh,
We're gonna pick him just cause it's Benji. I'm gonna pick Benji Lacrosse. He was the hard
I
charger
like
last
it.
year.
He
He I don't
was the
think he
hard
passed a
charger.
single. I don't think he actually passed a single car under green, but he was the hard charger. He got the extra money for it. So
I can I can verify for a fact he did not pass a single car under green.
he put it in the show, and then he just chilled on the bottom for all 100 laps, and his car survived. So that's all he had to do in that one.
He's so good. I'm not. So I was there. Obviously, I know your relation to Benji. I talked to him in the pits, so I was kind of watching him, and I was like, all right, this makes sense. He's just hanging in the back, hanging in the back, and the leaders started to come up on him. I was like, okay, this is where he's gonna like, try not and. No, I think he got a caution the first time, so he was like saved. And it didn't take long for them to get to the back of the field again, and he never put it into gear.
He only ran 97 laps. He finished. He was on the track when it ended, but he was like
Yeah,
3 laps
yeah,
down. But
he took a cut.
he was
Yeah,
he's out.
that's the
No,
other thing. So then he goes a lap down, and there's a caution. I'm like, does he get his lap back? I'm like really invested in this story. He never got his lap back, and I was like, all right, he's smarter than
but he
even
kept kept
me.
kept
He
gaining
just kept
positions.
going. Yeah. So true story. I was pulling hard.
If
I
he
was
makes
I
the
did,
show, if he makes the show and does that strategy again, it may just work out for me. I mean, I think
it
it's was
very
it like
well
80
may.
laps this year, I believe. I know it's not 100.
I
Um,
believe it's 80 and a fuel stop at 40. So
but that's still enough laps for guys to pull off and have issues. So
yeah. Yep. Yep. Oh, so that was a good laugh. All right. So I really should, right? Like I really should. But I think because you took like a little bit of like a little bit of a homer pick, right?
yeah,
I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna do the same, and I'm gonna take a Wasota driver, and and I'm not even gonna say Dan Ebert and like gotcha with the Wasota driver. I'm gonna take a legit one, I believe, and I'm gonna take Landon Atkinson. Um, I think he's gonna open some eyeballs. Honestly,
he
I'm really
won
excited for
at
him to be there.
Granite City, didn't he? Like a big 10K race. Was
Yeah.
that him? Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Yep. Um, and then I think let's do this because entry lists aren't solid. Let's each take like a backup driver just in case one of our guys doesn't show up.
Okay.
Does that seem fair?
Yeah. Give me a second to just look through. Oh, oh,
Um,
that'd be a good one. Okay. I think I
I
have
would take
mine.
Strickler. I'll take Strickler if yours is not Strickler.
Okay, you take him. I'll take Dustin
Yep.
Sorensen.
Yep. That's a good one. I like that one a lot too. So, all right. Well, those are pretty fun teams. We'll have to whip a graphic together. Hopefully, maybe it might be tough, but if we get a chance, we'll throw it up on the socials. All right, let's do the stock cars real quick. We'll do 3 each on that one, and I'll
Should
let you.
probably take a backup on this one too, because we know there's
Yeah,
guys that aren't going to be there.
yeah. There's a couple
Um,
guys we're pretty sure are not going to be there. So yeah, we'll do 3 and then one backup driver.
so if we don't take Dylan Thornton and Dallin Murdy, it's because we're not positive for sure on Dylan Thornton. We know he won't be there, and Murdy,
Yeah, we're
he seems to have been running SLMR, so not really sure.
yeah. We feel like he might continue to do that. So.
Are you started on this one?
I can,
Okay.
and I'm gonna take Cole Sarneski.
He does whip up on USRA stock cars all
He
the time.
does.
So.
He does. I'm absolutely. The last big USRA race that I can recall, not saying it's the last one that I ran, but that I can recall, he won.
And I
So
think he
yeah,
won
I'm
that
gonna take him.
one of the big ones before that too.
Yeah.
That's like Sandia Speedway or whatever the name of
Yep.
it was.
Yep. And then at Arrowhead as well. So yeah, I'm gonna take him. I'm glad you let me go first.
Um, I'll go with. Is he on here? Oh yeah, there is. I'll go with Derek Green.
All right, I like that pick. He's been doing really well with the Ironman too, so that's a very solid pick. And then you get to go again as
Oh, yep.
well.
What is that Brady's number? Is he going? That
Brady
gear?
Geary,
Yeah,
I would assume so.
I don't see him, but I also don't know what number he is.
Oh, there he is, 23, Braden
Okay,
Geary. Yep,
I'll go
he's
with
there.
him
Yep.
then. The
Okay.
guy who I always think it's Gajir or whatever, not
Yeah.
how you pronounce it. I didn't realize the J was silent on his name.
Admittedly, I'm just repeating how I hear it, but that's how I hear people say it, so that's how I assume it's said. Um, so, oh my goodness, there is actually this field is loaded, dude. It's loaded. Like, um, yeah. So I'm gonna hmm, yeah, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Kelly Shryock.
That's who I was gonna take.
Yeah. Um, it's hard not to take him. There's so many good guys, but it's hard not to take him. Um, and then I think for my last one, I'm gonna do Brandon Hare.
I wish Dylan Thornton was going. I would have easily taken him. Um,
Ooh.
let's see here. Um, I'll go with uh Chance Hollins. I believe
All
that's how you
right.
pronounce.
All right. I'll admit the first couple times I saw that I read Chase Holland and I'm like, what? And then I so all right. And then we should probably, like you'd mentioned, take a backup driver just in case. Um so throw a dart, you'll hit someone liable to win this thing. So
Am I going first for this?
yeah, I'll let you go first since I took the
I'll
first
take
pick.
Jim Chisholm, I guess. He seems like
Yeah.
a pretty good in anything kind of guy. So
Yeah. Yep. I was thinking about him as well, but I think I'm gonna go. Um Is Hollitz a IMCA guy?
I think he runs both.
Okay. I just feel like I've ended up with way more IMCA guys than you, and that's blasphemous. But I'm gonna go
Well,
with
he
Zane
took one of my
DeVilbiss.
IMCA guys too, so that's
Yeah, that's true. But I'm gonna go with DeVilbiss, which maybe I should take someone a little. I don't know. I could see him not showing up, but anyway,
he
it
lives
was
in
that.
Iowa though. So he's not
He
like
does.
he's
He
yeah,
does.
so it's not like he's
Yeah.
coming from
Yeah.
Minnesota or New Mexico.
Right. Yeah. No, he might be there. He was actually here last year in a mod too. So. Yeah, he'll probably be there. All right, yeah, I'm gonna go with that. I think he's a good pick. He's won a fair bit of big races too. So, all right, well that should be fun. I'm super pumped to go to this thing. I'm like really, really, really excited. So, um, it's gonna be a fun time. Where are you going this weekend?
Mine's a fairly normal week. It's just Luxembourg, Plymouth, and then Angel Park on Sunday. Um, I think Plymouth has late models 'cause they have three normal divisions, and then their fourth one rotates. But they have the late models, and then Luxembourg has their five normal ones, and then Angel Park. They run Badger midgets. That's like their home track. So they're there all the time. But then the other divisions kind of change a lot, and they have wingless sprints and 360 sprints. So it should be. I like all three of those classes, so that should be pretty cool.
Heck yeah, that should be a fun show. Right on.
And then
Um,
actually, since we're recording it at a weird time, Tuesday next week I go to uh 141 for the High Limit show. So
oh,
so I figured obviously next our episode
yeah,
will be out after, but just I'll add that
yeah,
on there.
yeah. Right on. Well, I'm excited to hear about that. Um, so I'll have to say hi to Benji for you this weekend.
Yep, he's
Um,
gonna lose. He's the points leader in the mods and stock cars at Luxembourg. He's gonna.
Oh no. Does he? Hopefully he's got a drop. Hopefully he's got
No,
a
doesn't work that way with IMCA.
drop. Fair enough. Fair enough. But yeah, that should be cool. Well, I think that's everything we wanted to cover for this week, which means Carter, it's time for
The one for the road, and I can start with that. I feel like we talk about this place a lot, but they seem to have a lot of big races. They have
They
the
do.
IMCA Summer Nationals at Clay County Speedway, and this was 25,000 to win, but due to lack of entries, they changed it a bit. But
Okay.
it still pays pretty good. Stock cars, it's a 3-day show, for full shows each day, and like they don't play a factor into each other.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
it's just individual shows.
Stock cars, it's 1250 on June 2nd, and then 2500 and then 5,000 on June 4th, and then mods is 1,000, 2,000, 4,000, and then they have sport mods. I won't go through all their payment, but they pay pretty good. And then hobby stocks and sport compacts are there on. Oh, okay, I didn't realize hobby stocks and compacts actually run Sunday and Monday. They're not there Tuesday and Wednesday. So, and they have
Okay.
a higher pay too. I'm not sure if
Okay.
they run anything on Sunday, like maybe just a weekly show for the other cars. I said I didn't realize they ran Sunday. So they might be because I can't imagine it's just sport compacts and hobby stocks. They probably have something else there too with them. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, all of them got boosted payouts. It's just not the 25,000 for
Big.
stock cars and 10,000 or 15,000 for mods and stuff like it was originally.
No. Ambitious show. Glad they still kind of kept the payouts solid though.
But yeah, they didn't
Four or
just
five
like,
thousand. Yeah.
and they didn't
Yeah.
just cancel the show entirely or anything. They kept it.
Right.
So
Yeah. Right on. And so that you said June 2nd, so that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That's it's super weird for us.
yeah, that's
So, but should be a cool show. We'll probably get around to the results of that
we
at
we
well, we'll do it intermittently. We can at least hit some.
Yeah, it's another one of those ones where it's like a 3-week process to get through it. That's how
Yeah.
high limit's going to be for me too.
Yeah.
Talk about my trip there.
Yeah, but it's definitely worth putting on the radar, and it's gonna be a cool show, and we will talk about it probably more than once. Um, so well, that means it's my turn, I believe, and so I wanted to mention the Wasota Late Model Challenge Series is firing back into action. They ran a couple shows 2 weeks ago and took the weekend off, and now they're firing back up, but they've got a 4-day swing this weekend. So that's ambitious. But they're at KRA on Thursday, Fiesta City on Friday, Madison Speedway on Saturday, and then a track I really want to get to, Casino Speedway on Sunday. Um, like there's an actual casino there, I'm pretty sure. Like
I'd
I'm 99% sure of this, that there's like an actual casino there.
I'd hope
So
so with the name.
yeah. Yeah. So that's like two awesome things at once. But anyway, and it's like a little quarter mile bull ring too, and I think the racing's very good there. So like it just delivers in a lot of respects. I'll have to make a trip out there sooner rather than later and report back. But that's one that I've been wanting to go to for years. I almost chased USMTS out there a couple different times when they ran out there.
Are they in
Um,
the Dakotas, like South Dakota?
South Dakota.
Yeah,
Yep.
it must be pretty
Yeah.
close, I assume, to the Minnesota border, just based off
I
kind of where they're
believe
going.
so.
Because
I
I know
think it's in like Watertown.
Madison's I know is in Minnesota, so I can't
Yeah,
imagine they're going like way out for Sunday.
yeah. Fiesta City's in like Montevideo,
Yep.
Minnesota, which is like western. That's where I used to go duck hunting with my grandpa and
And
my
you said
dad. Is out
KRA
in
is
Montevideo.
Thursday, right?
Yep,
And I know they're in
yep,
Minnesota, so
yep, yeah. So I think they're kind of like starting here and working their way like south and towards South Dakota is how I think it'll look. But anyway, but I really enjoy the sort of late model challenge series. It's something I'm going to talk about more. That's why it's kind of the one for the road. But like, I think Shane's running it again this year. I guess I'll find out this weekend for sure if he goes out and runs it or not. But I believe TPO and Cole Searing, and there's just a lot of guys that I
I
see
don't
race a lot.
know if TPO is running it. I'm not because
He was
he
he
missed
was
one.
there.
He
They
didn't.
allow some drops
Yeah, but
though.
I know I listened to another podcast and they didn't
Okay.
sound so certain because he missed one and then he had like a really rough night. I think he like pulled off during one of the features. Like he was
Okay.
just like he's way down in points already. So I don't know. He might run it.
Okay.
I mean,
He
he
might
could
not.
probably come back, but it
Yeah.
wouldn't surprise me if he didn't. I think he'd be at these ones because isn't he
Oh,
from?
I would be
Yeah,
shocked if
that's
he's not at
yeah.
these
So,
ones. Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah. I mean, he if
Yeah. He
anyone
was
can
just
come
at
back from
Madison
a
on
yeah, if
Monday.
anyone can come back from a big point deficit, it's probably him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, I think with any tour, whether it be SLMR or the Wasota Challenge Series or whatever, like if you get off to a bad start, you're not obligated to keep doing
Yeah.
it, right? Like it didn't, the cards didn't fall that way this year. Go regroup and try it again next year. So
And who
if
knows,
that's what happens.
he may not be planning to run it, and then he runs these four, all of a sudden wins four straight, and it's like, all right, maybe we'll run it again. We're right
I
back
mean,
in it.
that's what happened to Cole Searing, who won the whole thing last year. He wasn't planning on running it. And then the first couple of weekends there wasn't anything local enough to him to race, so he went and ran them. And I think he won a couple and ran well, and he's like, well, I'm gonna keep chasing it while I'm leading it. And it ended up coming down to like the last race between him and
Yep.
TPO. Yeah. So, and he ended up pulling through and winning it, but like, yeah, he had no intention of it at the beginning. So, yeah. So we'll check back on that next episode, and I'll probably run down the winners. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw TPO or Cole Searing as one of the winners, or Shane. So, but and also I think Zach Johnson's running in this year, the Millennial Farmer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I digress. We've talked enough. I've justified why I brought it up enough. So anyway, well, that is I believe everything, Carter. So,
Yep.
all right. Well, if they're still here, what should they do?
Comment. Want to comment? Like, should we make him comment
Yeah.
something again?
What's a good comment? What's a good comment for this one? Let's go. You guys sure like mods. There we go. I don't know. It's not very catchy, but if you got that one and you post it, we'll definitely know. Anyway, all right. Thank y'all for hanging out with us. It's been a blast. Look forward to next week again, and we'll catch y'all later.
See ya.